What even happened in this race? Oh my. So the Roval just happened for the second time, and oh my, this is just. It was a race. I mean, there were so many talking points there. I mean, I didn't even get to. I can't even collect my thoughts about it. I mean, smash and dash for Chase Elliott, playoff point, playoff positions. I mean, cutoff race and all that. Wow. That was fun though to watch. I loved every second of watching it until the end when my guy didn't. When no, one of my guys didn't do so well. I'm just pulling up finished results so I can actually tell you guys what they were. But yeah, let's start, with the winner of this race because Chase Elliott, about halfway through the race, like just after he won the stage, barrels it into the tire barrier, and then wins the race and goes back to that same spot in the tire barrier and does the burnout. I mean, that was awesome. I love that. Yeah, I loved seeing that. The smash and dash. Um, he smashed up the car and then he went and dashed back and passed everybody. It wasn't a strategy call that got him back to the front. It was pure speed from that number 9 car, and I don't know how you're going to stop him on a road course. I mean, these road courses, he is just fast, especially when you give him more than 1 year of experience at the road course. And the confidence, of course, from his Watkins Glen wins. So yeah, these road courses in general might start to become hard trophies to get. Bowman secures up his spot in the next round of the playoffs with his win today. Kevin Harvick was already secured, but yeah, Bowman though, even if he ties with Newman, is gonna be through to the next round of the playoffs because of the tiebreaker going in his favor because of the second place finish. And I believe that makes now 4 second place finishes this year for Bowman, and the win for him, of course, coming at Chicagoland earlier this year. Harvick just kind of chugged along all day, got third. He really didn't need to do much. I mean, this race really didn't mean much for him because of where he was in the points and whatnot. Clint Bowyer did everything he needed to do, getting a nice top 5 finish. And I'll be honest, if I had to pick someone to eliminate, I kind of wanted to see Bowyer gone, but I can't complain. He drove his way to that win. Yeah, great finish there for Bowyer. Brad Keselowski, again, all he needed to do was start the race, so he really didn't need to do too much. William Byron did everything he needed to do to get in and stay in the playoffs. Truex decimated this round. Truex, man, he dominated this round, and then at the road course where you thought he might be able to pick up another road course race win, he was there, but he wasn't really the front runner for most of this race. I don't even did he lead more than like 10 laps in this race? I don't even think he led more than 10 laps. Ryan Blaney, he did what he did what he needed to do. He's advancing to the next round. With a solid top 10. Jimmy Johnson, solid top 10 as well. Of course, he doesn't necessarily need it for the points or anything because he is not in the playoffs for the first time in his career. But it is definitely a big confidence booster to see a guy like Jimmy Johnson get a top 10. Then guys like, and then again, Joey Logano, kind of an averaging day, but a pair of underdog stories in those next 2 positions. 11th and 12th, Matt DiBenedetto and Michael McDowell. Now, I'll admit, I'm a big Michael McDowell fan. Working on getting a diecast to add to the collection of Michael McDowell's. Not sure where I'm going to end up putting it. Also rearranged a bunch of stuff back there, so if anything looks different, feel free to let me know. Comments on it. I can see definitely a little bit too reflective of a picture there. Just anything there is going to reflect because the light's kind of right on top of it. But yeah, so but both of them were running inside the top 10 for most of this race, so it's not even like a fluke underdog win like what we saw um, at like, oh, what was it, Daytona earlier this year for the Coke 600 um, when Justin Haley won. I mean, we didn't even see that. So we see Matt DiBenedetto and Michael McDowell both getting very solid finishes just outside the top 10. Great for both those teams. A lot of momentum for Matt DiBenedetto trying to get his first career win. Probably won't happen until he goes to Wood Brothers next year. Unfortunately, that's where I see it. I see him getting Wood Brothers' 100th win as his first career win. Mike McDowell, I think he's resigned. I'm hoping he's resigning to the 34 if he isn't already resigned. Larson, I believe he's on. He's through to the next round. He has a contract as well ongoing, so nothing really on the table negative for him. Also, I guess top 13th place finish, potentially helping him sell himself on getting a better ride potentially for next year if he does come across one. I mean, I don't know what his contract situation is with Ganassi. Eric Almirola tried hard as he could, but couldn't get by enough cars to get to the playoffs, so he will be out in this round. So I guess a big question mark now is what do they do with Almirola when he doesn't perform? I mean, are they going to boot him this early into the 10 cars career when he's gotten the 10 cars only win, or the only win at Stewart Haas with the 10 car? I don't know. 10 car might have a win with like Ricky Rudd. It probably has several wins with Ricky Rudd or something. One of the tied cars. Ty Dillon though, 15th place finish. That's a pretty solid one. Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, everything around Ty Dillon is just solid at this point. I mean, he's on a quote unquote solid team in RCR, even though it's Germain, it's really RCR. Yeah, he's got a pretty solid um, car. He's probably never gonna actually move around too much unless he moves in house with RCR. Yeah, I could see him really ending up maybe like a Paul Menard, who is actually the next driver on the list. But yeah, I mean Ty Dillon though, he did. I'll give him a lot of credit though. He did pretty well today. He was running pretty much up there as well, kind of like McDowell and DiBenedetto. He wasn't necessarily up there all day, but he was up there for a lot of it in the top 15-ish area. I mean, I saw him as high as I think 12th earlier in the race. But then Paul Menard on his retirement tour, getting a 16th place finish. Just kind of a Menard style day. Stenhouse and Buscher, the guys trading rides, finishing 17th and 18th. I guess Stenhouse really kind of just showing, hey, I won up to Chris Buscher. Maybe put me in that 37 car. No, I think that's probably though going to go to Hemrick. But then we have a bunch of Chevys down here after we get by Denny Hamlin but Joe Gibbs Racing though had a horrid day. I mean, like I just went through like the top 20, and two guys in particular that you don't hear is Kyle Busch and Eric Jones. Kyle Busch decided to pull it into the garage and just kind of hang up the hat with like after the after the 7 lap to go red flag, which I mean I kind of understand. I mean it built up the frustration in what he did, like in what's happened all day to him. And to be honest, it gave him a chance to kind of reflect on just kind of the bad second half of the season that he's had. And I'm sure that probably was a contributing factor to him quitting the race. I don't think he should have. I would love to have seen him at least try and fight back, but of course there was nothing for him to gain. He was on a lap all by himself, 3 laps down. You aren't going to gain that back. I mean, there's no way the Roval gets crazy enough to where a guy comes from 3 laps back to actually do something relevant, especially when you're already guaranteed through on points. I mean, he comes out of this the points leader, but the more impactful car that was outside that top 20 um, was Eric Jones. Third straight week with a major issue. I mean, like, was this the third week in a row that he finished dead last? Where did he finish it? At Okay, so he finished 36th. 36th, I think, was his best finish in the last three races. Yeah, when you have a best finish of 36th, you have an issue. And I hope Jones can figure this out and maybe even rack up another win before the end of the season. He is signed to another 1 year deal with Gibbs, and Gibbs, I like what he's doing. He's keeping all the drivers on fairly short contracts so he can plug and play whoever he wants on his 4 car team from that alliance between the 4 drivers that are there now and Christopher Bell and whoever they end up having in the Xfinity Series, who ends up doing well next year. But yeah, and then another guy though that had a pretty bad day, especially with a penalty very late in the race that cost him any shot at being in this next round of the playoffs. Ryan Newman, Roush Fenway Racing and their 6 team resurgence has come to an end. They did not make the round of 12. He was battling hard with Amarola for position, and he ended up missing the backstretch chicane barely. And then he ends up never serving the penalty, and I'm sure they gave him a harsh penalty for that, for him not finishing that. But yeah, so just kind of looking back through the 12 guys that are moving on to the next round of the playoffs. You've got Kyle Busch, MTJ, Kevin Harvick. I'm expecting all 3 of them to be moving on past this next round as well. Keselowski, Hamlin, I expect both of them through. I think those are like the 5 give me's. Logano will probably move on through. Elliott will probably move on through. Then I think it's going to be a battle between Larson, Blaney, Byron, and Bowman for the who's going to fight back into the top spot after this one. But I mean, great job though to guys like Bowyer and whatnot that were Bowyer and Bowman both came in below the cut line, and they ended up above the cut line at the end of this. So, man, that was a great race though. I love that. I love the cutoff races. I'd say that was a better Roval race than last year, even though last year had a better finish. I think this overall was a better Roval race. I mean, it was a bit more chaotic. So I guess for the casual race fan, it was probably a better one. Also, with the smash and dash guy getting the win that completely barreled it in, and I'm starting to really, I mean, Chase Elliott right over there, my Roval race win already. I mean, it's the 2019 Napa Auto Parts car. I mean, I don't think there's anything that you can tell that isn't road course about it exactly, except for like the lack of a windshield wiper. But it didn't rain. I still want to see a road course race in the rain. But yeah, so I think that's all that I had about the Cup race this weekend. But I did want to talk about this real quick because it is NASCAR related somewhat, and I also am a big fan of other motorsport as well. But the IndyCar champion Joseph Newgarden actually took some laps around. I think it was 1 or 2 laps around the Charlotte Motor Speedway in an IndyCar, and he set down some very fast laps in that thing. And I think that's why they changed up the backstretch chicane, was so that it would be more apt for IndyCar. Because I think the straighter chicane that we've seen last year, I think that was just too dangerous for IndyCar to try. Because if you have an IndyCar going through there at 200 miles an hour, 210 miles an hour going into that chicane, I feel like you're just gonna have way more risk if someone does exactly what happened with Eric Jones or Bubba Wallace last year in testing at Roval. So I feel like that's a reason for why they made the major change, was to slow down that chicane. Wasn't necessarily for NASCAR stock cars, but might have been for IndyCar. And an IndyCar doubleheader this year, I would love to see that. But I wouldn't want to see it end the season. Like, I would like to see maybe IndyCar extend their season by a race or two so that they can have the Roval race, but not have it be the championship decider, so that we don't have NBC trying to balance. Um, okay, we've got the NASCAR playoff cutoff race, and then we've got the IndyCar championship decider, all in one weekend or one day even potentially. Because I've also heard some people saying Roval at night. I would think that they'd have to really light up that infield road course because of the lack of headlights on the NASCAR Cup cars. I mean, if we just take, for instance, this one, I mean, the headlights there are just stickers. I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, that's the one of the more famous jokes from like the Cars movies is that NASCAR cars don't have headlights. Um, so I mean, I feel like there either have to be a change to the cars to add headlights, or they'd have to really light up that infield to make Roval at night a possibility. But extending it to a 3-day weekend, have Xfinity on Friday afternoon, like later afternoon, or even if they want to experiment with night Roval, maybe make it a Friday night Roval race for the Xfinity cars, but then have a Saturday afternoon and a Sunday afternoon for the Indy cars, or have like Indy cars on the Saturday, NASCAR on Sunday. I mean, again, that's where a lot of the debate comes: is which one's the support event versus which one's the main event. Um, but yeah, so that was just some of the stuff that came out from Roval this week. I've got some other stuff I'm going to talk about in a video later this week about the trucks and Xfinity series, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on that news that has come out. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard it, but I will be making a video on that later this week. But yeah, just some kind of quick channel stuff as well while I'm wrapping up this video. Feel free to let me know what you guys think of the like the backdrop. If you guys think I should swap the 16 car picture with the picture that was in my background from my house, because I could swap those basically for which one's in the light better. Also, if you guys would like to see me kind of rotate around the diecast a bit, yeah, I mean, just feel free to let me know what you guys think of the whole layout. I'm still working on trying to get this thing kind of figured out, what I want to do with all of it. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed though, and if you guys want to support the channel, there are some links down below. But other than that, thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Bye.